This video is gonna be different. First, because I'm sick. I'm really sick. I haven't been this sick for years. Like the last time I had this peak of a flu was in Hong Kong, where I fainted. Hopefully I'm not fainting. Actually, this is really good potential retention device, because at some time in this video, I might faint. How's that for having high stakes? How many other YouTube videos are you gonna watch where the guy that's making the video might faint at any moment? I mean, seriously, if you don't watch this video, I don't know what you're doing with your life. Anyway, I don't have a script. I don't have a teleprompter. I'm just gonna be riffing. Normally, my videos are not like this. In any case, let's take it easy. Take it as a podcast. Take it as a conversation with a friend. I'm taking it as that too. And let's talk about the main topic. This is gonna sound ridiculous, and I'm gonna share with you a very personal secret that the few times I've shared it with people, they think, dude, you are delusional. And I completely understand it from a logical point of view, but it still feels true to me. And maybe you understand what I mean when I tell you what it is. Pretty early on, I had this instinct, let's call it, that the way we're living is not right. And it became my reason for living. So I knew I wanted to change the world. And I know how megalomaniac this sounds. And that's what people who hear this think, right? Oh, you're gonna be the savior, right? Like the new Jesus Christ fallen down to earth, and you're gonna single-handedly save the world from its terrible sins. No, that's not how I see it. But yes, that's also how I see it. In the sense of, I really do believe that there are systematic aspects of how we live our lives that are messed up, to not say something even worse. And they were messed up 25 years ago. Today, they are really, really effed up. And I thought that back then, that the way to do it was to become a billionaire, like to have extreme wealth and extreme power, and use that wealth and influence and power to impact change in the world. So yeah, that's what I thought. And therefore, I was very driven, very ambitious, very motivated, and very cocky. Very, very, very cocky. So I said, let's go to China, because China, you know, everything was happening there. So I thought that's the place where it can happen. So I managed to convince L'Oreal, like the makeup company, to hire me directly in Hong Kong. As I told you, I was very cocky. L'Oreal really like cocky people. Sorry if there's like L'Oreal people watching this, but it's 100% true. And then, so I went to L'Oreal. I spent 1 year there in the Hong Kong office doing a work that, you know, I was way too young for that job. I was managing China, Vietnam, and Philippines for some of the main brands for travel retail though. And honestly, like my youngest colleague was like 37, I think. And I was like 22. So yeah. I had to lie about my age all the time. Actually, my boss, that's the first thing he said. You have to lie to the clients about your age. Anyway, so I did that for 1 year. And then I eventually quit because they wanted me to go to Miami. And I didn't want to go to Miami. I wanted to stay in China. So I created my first company. And here is where I put my plan into action, right? Like, okay, I'm going to build my company. I'm going to grow it. I'm going to become a billionaire. And I'm going to change the world. That's, you know, pretty straightforward plan, right? Like, what could go wrong? And eventually, I realized that there were two markets that had a lot of potential. One was solar energy, solar panels, mostly photovoltaics. And then the other one was LED lighting. So I was in China, which was perfect because it was like the place where the industry was developing the most. The problem is, okay, I'm in the right place, but, you know, my clients are in Spain, I'm in Hong Kong. How do the clients find me? So what I did is, at that time, Google was still using something called PageRank. And it decided that rank based on links and things like that. But there was one directory called DMOZ, which was like a Wikipedia sort of thing. Like it was run by volunteers. This was highly curated. And getting into DMOZ was tough. And that was like the main source of Google's rank allocation system. So I saw that and I said, wait a minute, if I manage to become the editor of the categories of LED lighting and solar energy of DMOS for Spanish content, I can just add my websites there, no problem, right? So I just, and this is a teaching for you. I just saw that. I said, okay, I'm gonna put 1 month of my life, I'm gonna dedicate it to make this happen. It's not gonna have an immediate benefit to me. So I'm gonna volunteer and I'm gonna edit a huge backlog of DMOS requests. And after a month, they said, this guy is good. Let's give him these categories that it seems he knows about. So I got it. And almost overnight, my website became the #1 result in Google for anything solar panels or LED lighting in Spanish. That's it. That lasted for many years. I never spent a single dime in advertisement. So 1 month of my life generated basically the entire business that that company made. So when people tell me about SEO and how I should optimize, my YouTube channel for SEO, secretly I laugh. I laugh in the sense of, you tell me, like I know how powerful SEO can be. I built an entire company with SEO. I mean, I am one of the grandfathers of SEO. Anyway, so back to the story. So things went great. I opened a subsidiary in Spain. I hired people. I moved to a bigger office with a view. And just as I did that, Lehman Brothers happened. And I went from making a really nice profit every month, really nice, to basically zero revenue. Not zero profit. No. Zero revenue. Why? Because my business was heavily linked to construction. And construction just stopped completely. Like there was nothing. What was being built stopped being built. It was really bad. In Spain, we had one of these bubbles that they say. And the solar project stopped. Everything stopped. Basically, several months later, I had lost all the profits that I had accumulated. I had eaten them through stupid fixed costs. And I still didn't give up. I mean, I created websites to do e-commerce and little buying quantity myself, holding a stock and selling online. I created a very cool brand actually for LED lights. It was never the same. That's the long story short. It was never the same. I mean, I managed to, sustain the company, but that path to the big win, it was not happening. And it started to take a toll on me because I was confronting a reality I wasn't ready for. And here's where the teachable moment happened. I wasted years, energy, brain power, trying to make and push for something that was doomed. There were a bunch of changes that basically said, dude, you can continue this and, make a living, but it's not gonna make you a billionaire. It's not gonna happen. I spent way too long without making a change. Like I didn't realize that it was time to pivot because I was focusing on the wrong thing. For me, at a certain moment, the success of that company became the objective. But the funny thing is that was never the objective. In fact, the objective was never getting rich. Remember, the objective was changing the world. So don't let yourself be blind by the wrong objectives. Like giving up is fine when you're not giving up about your ultimate mission. If you give up about the format of it, it doesn't matter. So at the moment, it's when I started drawing cartoons again. Because you see, as a kid, I really like as a kid two things. One was writing, and the other thing was drawing silly cartoons with big eyes. So with the stress and everything, I started drawing the cartoons again. And I had always, as a younger person, had this idea of making fashion brand with my cartoons, you know. I wanted to be happy and to inspire people and to motivate them and to make people smile. So, you know, I decided to take what I was getting from one company and then investing it in a new one. And I started a new company. And the difference is that it was something I was really into. So that made the process much better in the sense that I was dedicating a lot of time and a lot of effort, because being an entrepreneur and running a startup is like that. But I was doing it happily because it was something that was making me happy. It was something that I knew was making the world a better place, even if it was just like a few people. And I loved it. So while I run that company, eventually, you know, it grew. We made cartoons. That's how I got into the YouTube world. Actually, we have another YouTube channel for like a kids brand that actually has quite a lot of views. We got to work with really big people, like the producers of Narcos, Gaumont. I work with them. We presented to Netflix. You know, it was really cool. And through that process, actually, so the company grew, got investment, anyway. But even at that time, at a certain moment, I realized that the dream of the billionaire, it wasn't going to happen. A long story short, at a certain moment, something broke in me. And this ended up in a life crisis. I just said, dude, okay, I cannot take it anymore. I stopped. So I stopped, actually. I had a tough 2 days. And I reflected. And something very interesting happened. I hadn't revisited the main idea of, okay, I want to change the world. And I realized that I never asked why. Like, I never stop and analyze, okay, is the world that bad? Why is it bad? Can it be better? Because that's an important question. Actually, if the world is shit, but actually is the best shit we can have, then okay, that's what it is, right? And I decided to spend time doing that. Luckily, I mean, I didn't need the income. Like, I was fine. So I had the luxury of time to think. And through that process, I came to realize that there are other ways of impacting the world. In fact, arguably, the people who have changed the world the most have done it through their brain, through their ideas, not through their wealth. So that's when I started writing. First, it was a book. Then there was, I don't know what it was, like a blog. It got massive, right? Like 200,000 words of really going deep to like the core ideas of what's life, what's society, why. One day I hope to share this. Actually, the goal of this channel is to one day grow an audience to hopefully be able to talk about these more philosophical themes without the algorithm punishing me for talking about something arguably boring. But it's actually the ideas that I think can make an impact, and that I think, you know, can actually make us realize that there is a way to change. That's the most important idea. Not that we should change. I think pretty much everyone knows that we should change, but that there is a way to change. So that was a very enlightening process. The problem is, obviously, it was going nowhere, and I had never published a book, and I got to learn that nonfiction, you know, you need to have an audience to be able to publish nonfiction, so it was not going to happen. So just to, you know, do something, I started writing a shorter story for kids, and it was, you know, something that through the process of presenting to Netflix, etc., like I had already trained myself on writing scripts and things like that. So actually I thought I was pretty good at, and it came out really good. So I sent it to agents. I found a fantastic agent. We sent it to publishers. I found a fantastic publisher, actually Simon & Schuster, which is like the second biggest publisher in the world. And voila, 4 books. So, you know, I made a career out of writing. Now, again, this is not how I become billionaire, but I don't want to do that anymore, right? what I want to do now is to share my ideas. And I want to find an audience to share them with. So here's the learning, right? The learning is, don't listen to those that tell you the key to success is not giving up. That's bullshit. You have to give up. If you just do the same thing over and over and hope that the results are going to be different, you're stupid. I mean, that's not going to happen. I know people like that. And no, you need to iterate. That means you need to change things to make things different, to learn in order to improve, because otherwise nothing is going to be different. So giving up is not bad. It's as long as you don't give up on the right thing. If you give up in your ideals, if you give up in your life purpose, that is probably not great. But you are human. Your biggest asset is in your brain. So use your brain and try to figure out ways to walk towards that end in another way, in another form. Because, and this is very important, for me now, my goal is, yes, to change the world and to make the world a better place. Fine. But I don't need that to be satisfied. I'm satisfied just working on it. I'm satisfied doing this video that nobody's going to watch because, nobody watches any chinchilla videos anyway. And this one is worse because it's going to be a nightmare to edit, and I'm just rambling. But I'm happy doing it because I see it as a step towards that direction. I've said it many times, it's the journey that matters. And it's super true. The journey is what matters. So I hope you'll take this to heart. I'm sorry for all the rambling. I don't know how long this video will be. Honestly, let's see. Is this even recording? Yeah, it's recording. It's going to be super long. I mean, I will try to trim it. I hope you take something out of this. I wish you great holidays, or if you're watching this, later, maybe this should be good content for people who are sick. If you're sick, watch this. And so yeah, I wish you all the best. See you hopefully next week, again, in a more hyper-focused and high-retention format, or not. Maybe this video that was fantastic, and now I become the rambling 42-year-old who talks about his life and about his big ideas on camera for minutes and minutes. Actually, I wouldn't mind, but it's not gonna happen. Hey, if you enjoyed this content, by the way, here's how you can help. This is very important. Only subscribe if you're gonna watch more videos. Honestly, I appreciate your subscription. It's a great ego boost. But honestly, if you seriously think you're gonna see one more chinchilla video and you're not gonna watch it, don't subscribe. I prefer that you find out fine and watch a few more, and only when you're certain that you're gonna be looking forward to a new video, subscribe. Why? Because the YouTube algorithm punishes a lot when your subscribers don't watch your content. And if you want to help, please don't punish me. and the other way you can do it is by liking, interacting with this content. So actually, please leave a comment below, like ways to get rid of flu. If you're sick, share how sick you are. Complain. If you've ever been to Hong Kong. I've lived in California too. If you're from California, one day maybe I should talk about my experience, my 4 years in Mill Valley. Anyway, interact with the content. That helps a ton. And if you share with like-minded people, with people who you think this content might be good for or interesting for, that would be super helpful, because let's be honest, like, the YouTube algorithm is showing this content to very few people, and because we are how we are, it all depends on the thumbnail and the title to capture the very short attention span that we have, and to make people click and give it a chance. It's really tough. So hopefully, slowly we can work towards that. And hey, you're gonna find out if my ideas to change the world are actually worth anything, which they are. Honestly, I think they are. Um, anyway, thanks for watching. See you soon here, as always, in Chinchilla. Oh, by the way, I didn't faint, so that's a win on my book. See you.